Goondogs Outdoor Adventures here. Mosquitoes are starting to come out. It's been a rainy year, so we'll get the mosquitoes, but Camping 301, Wilderness Camping Part 2. I'm back on the homestead. Here's my tractor Thelma. Love Thelma. Had a Thelma for a long time. When you go camping, make sure you tell people exactly where you're going to be. Make a copy of a map. Leave the map there. Tell them about what day you're going to be where. If something happens, if you don't make it back, they can, send someone and you can try and figure out. People can figure out a lot easier where you're going to be. When you're going out on lakes, if there's whitecaps, don't go out there with a canoe. Certain kayaks you can do it, but don't go out there with a canoe. You can swamp your boat pretty easily, and as a lot of the lakes in the northern wilderness areas are spring fed, the water's cold, especially when you get into the fall and or in the spring and the water temperature is really cold. I've been in the water. I've tipped over in a canoe with my sister like 300 yards out, and it was in April and the water was relatively shallow. We got back into our canoe and paddled out, and we did not get hypothermia, but the water was warmed up because it was shallow. It was a swamp area. However, I've been in the water before where you go out in the water and your arms stop working. You have to realize when the water's really cold, you are not going to be able to swim any length of distance. Your limbs are going to stop working and you're going to drown. I was lucky enough that I made it across the deep water, and when I got out of the water, my arms did not work at all. So it's very serious. Make sure you hug the shore, and if at all possible, in the very cold lakes and so on. Make sure you do not go out there in any nasty weather. If you're going to go across the lake in really cold weather, be very, very careful, of course, not to tip the canoe. Getting sick. When you're out wilderness camping, you get sick. I've been sick out there, and after a few days it wasn't going away. I was getting a sore throat. I could tell the infection was spreading and so on. So then I decided that if it got worse, because it was cold out, it was actually summer, it was in the 40s and it was rainy, windy. If it got colder, I was going to, if I got worse, I wasn't going to be able to make it out of there. So I decided to leave early while I could leave. And so it's important, if there's an infection coming on or whatever, get out while you can. If you're in the middle of nowhere and there's no help, you got to just have common sense to get out while you can. But the rewards of these places are, one time I paddled. I did a portage, I paddled, then we bushwhacked in to this remote swamp, and no one's been back there, and just filled with moose. I saw moose, lots of moose sign, and just a beautiful area, and we found some beautiful grouse hunting areas in the beech forest, and just knowing that, wow, it's just awesome to realize that you're hunting and no one's going to disturb you. There's no one back there. You're back that far. Just because most people won't go back farther than a mile, and they're not going to go back, canoeing and all that, and go back several miles. So if you're way back, a lot of times you can go back in these areas, and these animals have never seen a human being before, and they look at you strange and wonder what in the world you are. And just encourage you. Just to get out there and do these things one step at a time, and then just receive these rewards and so on. There was another time I portaged 1.5 miles, put the canoe in the pond, went across the canoe, and then portaged into another pond. And there's no trails going to it or anything, nothing. I had to use a compass and portage, and so I went to this pond. Actually, there's 2 ponds around there. Went to 2 different ponds where almost no one goes, and we went fishing in one. The other one It was a long time ago. Didn't have any fish in it or anything, but it may have been acid rain back then. I would like to go revisit that pond and see if it's come back to life after all these years. But so I just want to encourage you to do it. The rewards are awesome. Go to these remote places and you just get the experience, and you just get a love for it. And so that's it for this episode. Wilderness Camping 301 Part 2.